Welcome back to the Knuckles TV show, and here's something that might seem a bit at odds with the comedic tone of the show. An episode based off something from Sonic 06 of all things, The Flames of Disaster.
It's also about how it's presented. This is actually the aspect that made Sonic fans talk the most about it, because this is where we finally get to learn, at least partially, part of Knuckles' backstory before he ended up in quote-unquote the real world. So obviously this is kind of pivotal. But I hope you enjoyed Knuckles' presence, because for this episode is there right at the very beginning and right at the very end. Everything else, it's Wade's escapade. You'll be able to see.
So this is where a lot of those Wade memes probably came from.
Alright, Waves, where should we start?
Start just before the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles bed shows up.
Go ahead, Van.
What a very specific thing to say.
Hey, the episode did it, not me. Alright, 3, 2, 1, go.
The way you described the episode initially, before getting to the Knuckles screen time part, sounds like, oh, more about Knuckles' backstory for this universe. That should be interesting. And then you immediately lost me.
It's also the way it's presented, Shiroi. Again, also, to answer your question from the previous episode, Shiroi, sorry, Wanda is here to stay for the rest of the episodes.
Does she get better?
You'll be
You know what? Don't answer that.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I will say, on the one hand, yes, I do see the hype about her being bad. On the other hand, I am waiting to see if she truly could be worse than both Chris Thorndike and Elise.
This was a part of these scenes were in the trailer.
So far, Chris is still worse because Chris was a main character.
Okay. I'm just gonna say this. I call it bullcrap. This is probably just an excuse to have it be mainly focused on Wade.
Pretty much.
Knuckles enjoying real coffee.
I mean, okay, I want to make it clear about Wade. Wade was never particularly hated before this series. Like I've said before, people feared he would be that annoying side comedy relief who took up a lot of time, but no, he was able to relatively have just enough time in the movies.
Yeah, what's the name of the actor that accompanies Adam Sandler in a lot of the appearances of the movie? The guy who played Paul
Kevin
Blart,
James.
Kevin James, yeah. People thought it was going to be like that.
Yeah, but no, he actually was legit funny and had a restrained amount of time. And you know what? Even in the Knuckles series so far, while yes, he's taken more screen time than Knuckles, it's felt relatively fine now. That being said, when I can literally tell from the first few minutes of the episode that you are clearly just setting the stage to focus on him entirely, yeah, that's where we may have a bit of a problem.
Not just
I'm
that,
sorry.
It's mostly a problem of writing more than anything, because again, the actor does the delivery just fine. He's not, deliberately annoying the audience or anything. So it's just a matter of the fact that conceptually the show is written, in a way that's not particularly, likable, making likable a lot of its cast. And like I said, I'm still operating on my theory that this was originally a movie that got stretched.
I will say this,
By the way, this was actually foreshadowing episode 1. Remember, Wade's friend, he mentioned that he's a bounty hunter, and since Wade now has a bounty on his head, yeah.
Yep.
Also, the hat he has here very much resembles Knuckles.
I can't imagine where this could lead.
Shiroi, were you...
Another fugitive, Jack Sinclair.
So he gets the hat, right?
Well, we'll see.
Wait. Given some of the advertising, Shiroi, I wonder.
It's also in the opening, if you noticed.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, in the OVA, he just had it because the creator of the OVA just wanted Knuckles to have a hat, I guess.
And that hat was trusted so much by the
Best
fan
bounty
base that here
hunter
it
in the
is.
business.
Wait, not for nothing. I know this for a fact, via, fictional media. Bounty hunters genuinely don't give a shit about motivation. They really just want the paycheck.
I mean, that they are bounty hunters, so
It's
yeah.
literally part of a job.
Like, the guy's literally saying to his face here, sorry, dude, money.
It's not even a matter of, being dickish about it. It's literally just the job description.
No, you're not.
Like even Rouge has more class in this department.
Oh yeah, by the way, yeah, this guy actually has the entire, cage behind electrified.
Well, who knows what dangerous crooks he has to catch, but yeah, no, it's funny you mentioned Rouge here, right? Rouge would totally be the person who would collect the bounty on Wade, but seeing that he's a nice guy, rescue him after collecting the bounty. She's just that complicated. Which is a good segue for me to bring up. Recently, there's been some behind-the-scenes intel, which reveals that apparently Rouge was supposed to show up in all three of the Sonic movies, apparently.
Well, I know about the development of Sonic 3, and I know one of the reasons why they cut away both Amy and Rouge from that is because they thought that the movie would have been too cramped otherwise, which I do get it, slow and steady.
Considering it was largely focused on Shadow's backstory as well, it does make sense.
What? The kid is having a Nintendo Switch.
But yes, the reveal is that apparently Rouge has actually been cut from all three of the Sonic movies, if you can believe that, which is honestly insane to me. Don't get me wrong, I like Rouge, but I find it funny that she was legit nearly in all three of those movies, which implies that she might have been in the first movie ahead of Tails, Knuckles, and Amy.
Alright, so how's he going to get out of this one?
Yeah, I just can't.
Has he got anything that can insulate it?
Closest, it will be the sole of his shoes. That's, usually rubber. Actually, no, I think he's having slippers because he was caught with his PJs.
Hey! I feel like playing on the Nintendo Switch. I don't know why.
What game is she playing?
Nintendo actually receiving royalties for a Sega product.
My theory is that the child actor just wasn't into it, and that is their actual Switch. So they just chill there.
Well, Knuckles is in the middle of the episode. See?
You got Idris Elba to voice a couple of lines, so there you go.
Easiest paycheck of the series.
This serves to basically put the biggest showcase of the entire episode, because to be fair, having Wade just in the cage all the time would be kind of boring. So instead, he gets literally electrocuted into a nirvana state. Not even kidding. I'm pretty sure that's not how it works, but Pachacamac is here, so let's go with that.
Oh my god, Christopher Lloyd!
Topically enough, I did just get done seeing the Back to the Future musical, so this is very fitting for me. This is the afterlife, people. Bowling.
A bowling alley. Well, I guess it's custom made for Wade, which...
I mean, it's better than the afterlife in Doctor Who.
Oh, really?
Well, it's
Get
complicated.
stuck in a metal sphere and then turned into a Cyberman.
Well, all you have to do is bowl a perfect game and you get to go to heaven.
That's
Well, okay.
okay. First of all, I argue Pachacamac is not really that hard of a name to pronounce, even for someone
It's
of
like
attention span as Wade.
it's like Tatopolis in Godzilla. It's not that difficult.
Okay, even though Knuckles doesn't show up, at least they showed Echidna on screen.
Well, that's also because we're busy using these as the vehicle to have Wade learning at least part of Knuckles' backstory, because it's a case of learning how to be a war like Knuckles. And unfortunately, this is part of a problem. More because of a budget. In-universe is even told as a cheap rock opera knockoff.
Starring Wade Whipple as Knuckles.
Yeah, enjoy, because now we're basically in a college humor sketch.
Oh, yeah. I'm guessing this is the episode where all the memes came from.
Like, and that's the thing that it frustrates a lot of people, including, for example, Some Call Me Johnny and myself. I kind of like a bit of the self-awareness with the stage ninjas, that you will see later what they do with the self-awareness of this. But otherwise, they tell a very important thing titled Knuckles' backstory, and not only it's treated mostly as a joke, but because of intentionally choosing the budget of a low budget rock opera, as told by Pachacamac, it's just bad to look at. Yeah, not helped by the strobe lights, unfortunately.
What is happening right now?
Yeah, that's
Right.
Jack Sinclair's long-clothed giant owl, that too. And again, we're presented it in a way that should be more of a web series format, from people like Smosh, which, with a budget of a ham sandwich, and just willing to fuck shit up, instead of, a multi-million-dollar corporation that supposedly is trying to actually make an adaptation of a beloved video game franchise.
Here's the annoying thing. If this were done strictly due to, like, budget cuts, I could maybe at least respect the crew, doing this incredibly over-the-top cheapo stunt. But no, I get the feeling they legit thought they had gold with this.
I can't believe the actors had fun with this, so that, to be fair,
Yes.
definitely.
Oh yeah, they definitely did.
Oh yeah, definitely. And good for them on it. And I mean, okay, like I said, if this were like, a side bit stunt.
Oh, there's a Knuckles puppet.
What the hell?
If this were, say, more like just its own little side bit of comedy, I'd be fine with it. It's just that I get the feeling they want us to take this a bit more seriously than we ought to.
Again, you know how for the marketing of Shadow Generations, Sega subcontracted Terminal Montage to make an actual animation recapping Shadow's backstory. If this had been something similar, where they subcontract, like, again, someone like College Humor to actually make a promotional sketch like this for introducing the web series.
Michael Bolton.
It wouldn't have been too much of a problem, honestly, because, it would have been cheesy, but, understandable. But because this is done with the budget of a series in the universe, it's even lampshaded and, usually made fun. Also, there are badniks, despite the fact that, Robotnik was not a thing in the Knuckles world at that point. Okay.
I mean, he is elucidating, to be fair.
And there's the other thing. Apparently, for this continuity, Knuckles decided to go fight against Iblis, which is a thing, apparently. And by the way, he talks.
What?
I know.
Knuckles talked.
I don't know who he's voiced by, but if it's the same singer as the Bounty Hunter, but...
he's got more personality here than he did in 06.
And I will say both these jokes are kind of lame, just before the sake of rhyming. Wait, we're not done.
Wait, we're not
It's like, I'm done here. Let's go.
We're not done yet. Wait. Oh, okay. You gotta punch the cage.
He's gonna punch the electric gate.
It's literally a DBZ Abridged joke. I figured it out. We just need to punch it really, really hard.
Okay. I mean, it won't work, but it'll be funny. Well,
Because you're stupid?
I mean, he tried.
At least he tried.
Yeah, carry on.
Did you make a better song?
I don't know. I'm enjoying this.
Again, Graves, I would enjoy it more if it was a fan project and not an official one.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen lamer fan project ones of these.
Like, if this was done in the 90s, I probably would excuse it more. Because, it would reflect still, the way video games adaptations were actually, conceived. Like, if a Sonic movie was done in the 90s, someone tried to do this as backstory, then I probably would have seen it just the way of the abstraction. But for this day and age, again, it just doesn't feel right to me.
Like, it was fine until the Iblis stuff.
Guys are just a bunch of fuddy duddies.
It also again raises a lot of question, like okay, if Iblis is in this equivalent of Mobius, where Knuckles come from, like what does that stand for? Is Soliana a thing?
And he's got lightning powers.
Was Solaris a thing that got split eventually? Is it a complete different thing like Ifrit in Sonic Rivals?
Also, I don't even think it's just a case of, like, I'm old or whatever, because would kids even find this fun? I don't...
Well, apparently a lot of kids did really like this. Like, the Knuckles show got a lot of views
Again,
overall.
well, to be fair, like I said, this is clearly, having the same energy of college humor style skits, and, a lot of young audience eat that shit up, so...
Okay. And again, I want to be fair. In a vacuum, this actually is pretty good. As, like, a skit, or even, like, a side bit or something.
Also, weird slow-mo.
So, yes, that said, can you believe that they actually brought in Iblis, of all
And
beings?
this basically just tells that Knuckles can have fire punches if he wants. I'm sure that would be important for the Sonic 3 movie.
With the power of a musical.
So, I'm curious, can, like, anyone just tap into the spirit world like this, or was that because Knuckles formed a bond with Wade?
Shut up.
Alright.
The kids in the back just like, can you get out the road? We're trying to go home.
She was still going on the Switch while getting away.
I have to give Jack credit.
I'm sure you have the death penalty in 12 systems or something.
I have to give Jack credit. He's very honorable. He literally could have just gone for the guns, but no.
Yeah, he could have just run up and killed him with both swords. For a second, I was just running away.
No, again, we were setting properly this up. Yeah.
Okay. I'll admit, this is obviously the weakest episode so far, but I'm still getting chuckles out of it. I think I will say this, though. It is Okay, as a set of skits, it's very funny. As a full cohesive story, it's mediocre, but it could be much, much, much worse.
I still think the previous episode was still the weakest. Sure, Knuckles was in that, but it really was about nothing. At least this one, trades Knuckles' presence for at least part of his backstory.
I guess for me, at least, the action of episode 3 did more for me so far. Alright. Jousting. I mean, you found the strength to literally punch your way out of a cage, so why not?
Okay, the mailman.
Where did you people come from?
The mailman had a flare gun. I have so many questions.
Does the US do all US Postal Service personnel carry flare guns?
In case we get lost or something.
Well, you know the saying, whether rain, sleet, or hail, they just have to have that flare gun in case of bad weather. It's just standard procedure, after all. Well, I'll give them credit. They got the tones of certain animes better than actual live-action ones.
Oh, no!
Oh, not the ponytail!
Not the hair. You just take the L.
Jesus!
Damn.
What the fuck?
I didn't know this was Mortal Kombat.
This guy's no fun.
I mean, the jacket
Well,
is pretty cool.
at least you got a cool vest still.
Are we forgetting something?
Oh, no, never mind.
I need your claws, your swords, and your
But your name's not Jack.
And you abandoned him for a literal child.
Also, scorpion necklace. Weird.
Because it doesn't exist.
Ah, yes, the Joestar technique.
He kind of looks like Eggman a little bit.
You could just run off with your bike.
He doesn't deserve the bike.
Like, he's not stealing your bike. He just wants the jackets.
Yet. There you go.
A
He still
disturbance
stole
in the
the bike.
force. Well, he ran away from it, so might as well.
And yeah, he also got the hat. Oh, right.
Wow, a genuine smile from Wanda.
He is. And there you go. You wanted to see Knuckles with his hat? There you go.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. If you've ever wanted to see Knuckles riding a bike, wearing his hat in the desert, there you are.
And that's mostly because now we're going with where episode 3 basically set us up. Where he's gonna go to confront his father in a bowling match at Reno, basically.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the last 2 episodes will actually be about.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. It's not as terrible as I thought it would be, but
no.
I like, let me put it like this. I get why people would be disappointed by it, but it legit was fun. It's just arguably not what one is looking for in a series that's supposed to be about Knuckles. Like, I'll say this. I think Tio's theory of this originally, or at the very least working better as a movie, definitely holds, because I feel like in a movie, this would have been like a funny maybe 10 or so minutes of it as opposed to being stretched out to a whole episode overall, which again would be
The
fine.
whole sequence where Wade misunderstands, punches the cage, and then returns to the sequence. That's just padding, literally just padding.
Yeah.
Just one example.
Especially with Wade trying to leave the dream or whatever spirit world and all that. Like, yeah, okay, I'm still a bit confused how that works. Like, did Knuckles form some connection with him that allows him to literally meet his father and everything in the afterlife? But yeah, no, like, I mean, I will say this again. The way I feel about this episode is kind of how I feel about the series so far overall here and there. Like, yeah, I can see the problems, but I guess I was overhyped with how bad stuff was supposed to be because so far it's been fine, maybe mediocre at worst, but I'm still having a relatively good time. That being said, if they do another season of Knuckles, there are definitely rooms for improvement.
Okay, to those people that said that this is the absolute worst piece of Sonic media ever, have you seen much Sonic media? Or do you even remember a whole lot of it? Because it's a musical episode. I don't typically enjoy musicals. Yeah, I had a good time. So, what horrible badness are you seeing that I'm not?
Mm-hmm. What did you think, Shiroi?
I agree with you. Wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Just internet over exaggerating stuff as usual. I didn't enjoy it personally. It got a few laughs out of me, but it was just kind of honestly. We'll have to see the payoff in the next 2 episodes, I suppose.
And hey, they took something from Sonic 06 and gave it at least something resembling a personality because Iblis in 06 was just a nothing villain. Here it actually has some kind of a personality, at least just more than I can say for the original version.
I will say this though, I do wonder why it was like. I mean,
They want an excuse to have Knuckles have a gimmick because Sonic quills have electricity, so he probably wanted the next logical step and say Knuckles, Fiery Spirit, so Fire Fist. How do we connect to those? Iblis. There you go.
Oh, that I get, but Knuckles has more naturally had the flame stuff here and there.
Which
in fact,
also
ironically,
begs the question: you defeat Iblis, a demon of fire, with a fire attack.
Well, to be fair, in Pokemon, you can beat fire Pokemon with fire moves, so sure, fight fire with fire.
Well, I guess, this does have the same weird logic that the Pokemon anime does.
Although my confusion is more so, like, there were tons of other fire beings you could have used, but you chose Sonic 06. Like,
okay,
to put things into perspective for anyone who's not a Sonic...
duology, like, how different is Ifrit?
It could very well be basically Iblis, but more of a firebird. But, I mean, okay, my confusion is more so, to put things into perspective for a non-Sonic fan, Sonic 06 was, like, that one thing that Sega did not want referenced at all, despite the fact that they kept pairing Silver with Blaze, but it was more so tee-hee-hee, wink, nudge. Like, at most, like, it was such a shock, actually, when Crisis City came back in Generations, because they'd been ducking and dodging. Like, okay, nowadays, I get it. They are well past that point of making fun of themselves for 06 and pretending it didn't exist, but by the time of the Knuckles series, I still feel like, aside from the Crisis City mention, they typically were trying to act like 06 legit was not a thing, so I guess they must have gotten one hell of a confidence booster to reference legit one of the main threats from 06, but like Dwib said, they definitely did a better job with Iblis here than in the actual Sonic 06 game.
It still raises, I argue, a lot of questions, and specifically, it leaves with a lot of questions hanging because as part of a backstory towards Knuckles, one of the weakest consistent things of this movie franchise is that we know very little. We're basically drip fed what part of the lore of the word Sonic comes from is like. We only know about a couple of things like Longclaw, which was expanded, for example, in this, telling us about the echidna tribe being exterminated by the owls, for example. And we only get a snippet of this, and we get to learn about the existence of stuff like Iblis, but it's because it's treated more in a comedy, and for all we know, it's possibly something that is not even real. Maybe it's really just genuinely way hallucinating, and this is not what happened, for all we know. It basically makes you wonder how it came to be, if there is a Soliana there, are there any humans, in that version of Mobius? Again, it is a question that probably would not be answered for a very long time, if ever.
Well, one thing that also confuses me, though, Iblis is what I consider to be the fire version of Chaos, to the point where Iblis even has a form that arguably looks similar to Perfect Chaos. I personally wonder, and yes, I get the flame stuff, but you do know that Chaos is actually tied to the Echidnas and Sonic Adventure. I am legit surprised they didn't do that, unless they're saving Chaos for, like, a potential future Sonic movie, in which case, okay, I could see why they subbed in Iblis for Chaos, basically.
Anyway, that's it for this episode. Tune in for the 5th one, which is called Reno, baby. So see you for that.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, then.